And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with the Game Boy Geek.
Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Today we're going to be building up a city over 7 decades, all the way from the 70s, all the way past to where we are today. And we're going to be building all sorts of different things with cities, and we're going to be trying to balance energy with ecology, green versus energy, and we're going to be trying to get some prosperity in the end of it. So this is Prosperity from Yastari Games. Brought to you by Asmodee in the US. It's 2 to 4 players, takes about 60 minutes or less, ages 13 and up. As we build these cities and buildings and different things, let's take a look. I'll show you how it's played, and I'll see you on the other side. At the beginning of Prosperity, you get to select which country you're going to be in. You take the player board for that country. And for this example, let's say we take Italy. Also, it's the gray side that's up. This is sort of a beginner game. But when you get better at the game, you can flip it over to the black side. This is just a little bit more difficult. But for today, we're going to stick with the gray. So here's what a player board looks like once it's set up to be ready to play. Now here we have different sides of things. The left side of things is energy. The right side of things is ecology. This is positive energy, positive ecology, negative energy, negative ecology. You start with 1 energy and -1 ecology. You also start with a certain amount of pollution on your board. What you're trying to do during the game is score points by prosperity, and that's the globe icon. You're going to be trying to get these globe icons on this track and then also on some of the tiles that you'll be placing here. So this is how the game starts. Now the main board is set up with some starter tiles that are the same every time you play the game. Again, on the left side we have energy, the right side we have ecology, and each side of this different levels, 1 through 6 on each side, starts with 2 starter tiles. And it's easy to figure out which ones go where to start because we see level 2 green and it's on the right side, and we put this level 2 green, level 1. So it's set up, it's the same every turn. At the beginning of every game. We also have a oddly shaped scoring track up here where you go back and forth. It's kind of a pain in the butt, but there's the score track. And through the game, you're going to be going through 7 decades of time, through the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, 2000s, 2010s, 2020s, 2030s. I like the artwork on the 80s and the 90s and the 70s. Looks really cool. And all these get stacked from the lowest years all the way to the highest years, and now we're ready to play. A player's turn works like this. He takes the first tile off the top, flips it over, and then first what we do is we score whatever the white highlighted label is on this token. And this one is white highlighted energy. Now you look at your energy board and see where you're at. Right now we're at a level of 1, which puts me here, which says I get $50 for every level of energy that I'm at. I'm at 1, so I would get $50. So the money in this game is paper money. It's very cheap and chintzy. Probably replace it with poker chips. Anyway, so there's $50. If I was at 3, it would be 3 times 50. That's how much money you'd get. And if I was less, I would either have to pay 100 or I would have to add a pollution to the track. Now, as you can see, if my pollution gets a little too high, then I'm covering over the space of prosperity, which actually gives us points at the end. So you're gonna not want that to happen. And as you can see, as you remove pollution, if you're doing well, it will bring up some more points that you'll be able to score during the game. So it's a balance between pollution, energy, and ecology here. And that would score, that's the first part of the turn. Once everybody has scored, whatever that was, it's not just one person that scores it, everyone scores whatever that is, and then this tile goes in its spot. This is a 1 blue, so it goes here. And then you have some actions that you can take on your turn. The actions are actually shown here. You get to take any 2 actions, and you can take any of them twice if you want. One is you can just take $100 from the bank. That's one action you could possibly do. Second one is you can remove a pollution token. That's an action. The third one is you can move up on the research track. So if I'm green, I can move up 1 spot on either research track for 1 action. Again, if I want to use both of my actions, I could have moved up twice and that would have been my turn. But let's just say I moved up 1 here for this action. The last action you can do is buy a tile. Now, when you buy a tile, if it's equal to the level that you're on the track, it's $100. If it's above that, it's $100 for every level. So if I want to buy this one, or any one of these ones in this row here, because I'm on the first track, any one of those would be $100. If I want to buy this one, for example, it's $200. If I want to buy this one, it's $100, $200, $300 to buy one of these, and so on and so forth. So let's just say I bought one of these for $100. Let's say I bought this one. Now when you place the tile, you see I have 2 pink squares here. This is a pink square. It has to go in one of those pink squares, and I could put it here, or I could put it on top of something. You can always cancel it out. Now here I have 2 energy and -1 ecology, and I could put it here. I would get 4 more energy, but -2 ecology. So I have a choice to either put this here and gain 2 energy, 2 more energy, but lose 1 more ecology, or I can gain 4 more energy and lose 2 ecology. Let's do that. So my energy would go up by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So now if that energy hits, I'm going to get $250, 5 times 50. But my ecology is going to go down by 2 more, which means I'm going to have to add 3 pollution tokens anytime ecology is scored, and it's going to end up, so it's sort of a balancing act here. And that's what buying a tile is. And again, you could take any of those actions. You have 2 total actions, any 2 that we spoke of. Now the other things, when these tiles come up, we just showed you what happens when you score energy. If it was ecology that we scored, again, you would score this way, where for each level that you're at, you would take off a certain amount of pollution. Or if you're in negative ecology, you would add that many pollution, depending on where you're at on that track. If money was what was scored, you'd get $100 for every one of these symbols anywhere on your board. If research was pulled up, which is this little icon here, you would be able to move up on the research track as many of those that you have on your board. Right here I have 1. So if that was the one that came up and scored, I could have moved there. Now I'm on the second track. And of course it makes these things cheaper, as we talked about earlier. Also, what I didn't talk about earlier is this one. If you buy backwards, it's $50 no matter which level it is back there. So that's moving up on the track. And let's say this was the tile that was pulled from somebody, and the white one is prosperity here. So you would score however many of those symbols you have on your board anywhere, that's how many points you'd get. Right now I just have 1. So I would move up 1 point on the score track, just up like that. And that's pretty much how a turn works. Now there's some things on your board here, like this one is X'd out, and you can't use any of these 2 until you put a tile on there that takes that X out, and now you can play on here. But you're pretty much buying tiles, putting them on here, sometimes covering up other things that are bad or not as good. You're trying to balance out pollution and energy, and of course you're trying to get prosperity, which is points. Now this continues until the last tile is taken. Once the last tile is taken and you pretty much have that turn, the game ends and you go through final scoring. You would basically score energy twice, just as it was. So if this was the case, I would get 250 twice, which would be 500. You would score ecology twice, which in this case, I would have to put 3 and 3, 6 pollution on. Oof, that would be terrible. Then you score money, so then everyone gets money as normal. Then we collect 1 point for every $300 everybody has. Then on the research track, if you're highest on blue, you get 3 points. If you're lowest, if you're next, you get 1. And same with the green track, 3 for the best person, 1 for the next person. And then you score prosperity like normal. And then whoever has the most prosperity on the score track is the winner. And just to note, if your pollution got really bad all the way and filled up all the way to here, you cannot score prosperity no matter what. So you got to play that balance, and that's how you play prosperity. All right, well there is prosperity. For me, this game was ho-hum. It was just average for me. It had some interesting things to think about. It's a balancing act. It's, if I go up on this, then I go down on this is going to do that. And there's a lot of interesting decisions to make here. And I think a lot of people will like this game quite a bit. But for me, it was just like, it was average. I have a game that's similar to this, yet very different, Power Grid Factory Manager. Which if I'm going to play a game where I'm trying to really most efficiently build something in positives and negatives, to me that game plays in the same time as this, and for me it's a lot better, and it scratches the same itch. So I will not be keeping this game. But there are some interesting choices, always trying to balance that pollution with the money, and there's some tough choices to make, going up on the research track, spending the money. I like that it was pretty easy. It's easy to teach. There's only 4 actions you can do on your turn, but in those decisions, there's a lot to think about and a lot of things to weigh. Do I cover up this tile, or do I go to a blank spot? There's some interesting decisions. I could see where some people might like it. My personal preference is it was just barely okay for me. I could take it or leave it. But from my overview video, hopefully you can tell if this game is for you. For me, I like Power Grid Factory Manager better. Scratches the same itch. I won't be keeping this. But for you, you might like it. For me, it was okay. Not bad, not great, kind of in the middle. Prosperity.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.